This is a mechanical calculator called the JS3, and the solutions that it calculates can be directly transferred to the blade angle of a table saw and the crossfence angle to make splayed stave forms with 3 to 36 sides in any splay angle you want, all the way down to 0, which is just segments. Now, I did not invent this. This was brought to me by a gentleman named Matt Inachi. Now, lots of people pitch me ideas, ask for help with their ideas. It's gotten to the point where that happens quite a bit, but this probably is the coolest idea that anyone's brought to me. And Matt seemed very capable of making it happen on his own with just a bit of advice. So I agreed to help him and did what I could. I'm not getting paid for this. I don't get a percentage of sales, no money for this video. This is just me helping another aspiring inventor in the woodworking space. So just to make that clear, probably the most significant thing I did was share the manufacturer that I've used for the pencil making kits. So these are going to be made by the same US fabricator, small shop here outside of Denver. So that's pretty cool. They do a good job. The design is quite good. So there's always risk with prepayments and crowdfunding, but this design is solid and it's good manufacturer, so I'd say I'd feel pretty confident in it. So you can click here or go to the link in description to see Matt's video, which will take you to his Indiegogo campaign if you want to support him and pre-order the JS3. But I've got some more stuff to show you on the build and working with these splayed stave pieces, so let's get into that. So the little build you saw me do at the beginning of this video was actually my second attempt at using the tool to make a splayed stave form, and this was the first attempt. So I had done the setup, everything was going fine. You see me cutting the 8 segments just like before. The distance from the stop block controls how long each of the segments are, so it's a little bit bigger, but all the angles are the same. But when I went to put it together, the angles were a little too large. See how that's not coming together? It's the angles are somewhere between 7 and 8 sides. You see it has gaps when I try to close it with 8, and then if I remove one and try to close it for 7, it doesn't quite come together. So this is a blade angle issue, and I found that I got better results if I lightly press the reference surface into the blade and then watch to see if the base lifted up. And I did find that my angle was wrong, so the setup here is what gave me the good results that you saw at the beginning of the video. But actually the original 8 pieces are still salvageable because I can glue them up in halves, 4 on each side, and then do a trick similar to what I've seen people do for segmented turnings and just sand them down on the disc sander. Even though this is a pretty substantial mistake that I made setting it up, it still comes together and it's roughly circular. I think you could turn this. You could certainly do some kind of other oval type of vessel with it. So as long as you're close, you can make it work. And it also seemed to me that these pieces would be a lot more useful if the tops and bottoms were in the same plane. So I thought I'd try to come up with a simple jig that would allow you to quickly cut those faces so that they were in parallel planes and you could use them as part of a segmented turning, like the middle section and segments above and below. There's other ways to do this. You could certainly do it on a big resaw fence on a bandsaw and then sand the kerf marks from the bandsaw out. But as you'll see, this one uses the table saw. So I thought for a long time about how I wanted to secure the workpiece to the vertical surface to hold it in place during the cut. Then it occurred to me if I just kind of jam my fist into the side and then squeezed, you create a lot of clamping pressure. You know, do this at your own risk. I think my lawyer would want to say that, I don't necessarily certify this as safe for you, but I sure felt comfortable with it. The cork rubber adds quite a bit of extra hold. So it felt very solid, and it was a really fast way to hold that workpiece in place and present all the sides to the table saw blade so that it cut a flat plane on one side first, and then I can just flip it around and do the same operation on the other side. If you're not comfortable with the whole gripping hand force clamping thing, you could definitely do a threaded rod. I kind of didn't want the steel so close to the blade. I think probably the ultimate solution would be wooden threads, if you can buy those or are capable of making them. Or there's probably some other ways to do this and hold it secure. But this was pretty fast. I'm comfortable with it. If I ever do this again, this is definitely the method I'm using. This, even without any sanding or cleaning up, all 4 of the cuts to make the flat faces really met up very nearly perfectly. So I was quite happy with the results, and this would be ready to be glued into the middle of some kind of segmented turning, which, who knows, maybe I'll do a bit of that. So we'll see. Alright, thanks for watching. I guess I can take the rubber bands off this guy. Hope you found this as interesting as I did. Check out Matt's video, take a look at the campaign, let me know what you think of this, and I'll catch you next time. Oh, one thing. I am thinking about using the YouTube feature where you can join as a member for a small fee, and then you get maybe exclusive content or live streams. I've seen several people do this pretty well, and I'm kind of thinking about that. Curious for your thoughts on what you might want to see with the membership feature. I've always kind of hesitated doing Patreon. This is sort of YouTube's version of Patreon, trying to integrate it, which I think makes a lot more sense because it's right there on YouTube where you consume content. I know I like supporting people on Patreon, but it's rare that I actually go into Patreon to get their perks. If it's part of YouTube, I think it's a lot easier. And I support some creators on YouTube and actually do take advantage of the stuff I get. So anyway, curious to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of that. If you have any ideas, anyone you think is doing it particularly well, that'd be great. Catch you next time.